I know what you're thinking. What's in the box? Well, let's find out. Those of you out there who really like traditional knives and collect them, have you all noticed that there seems to be certain patterns that we get attached to? And it may not be what we consider to be the most useful pattern. It may not even be the pattern that we carry the most often, but for some reason we just really, really like it. Well, if I look at my collection kind of speaks for itself. Which patterns do I have the most of? Well, the answer is the Sodbuster Jr. and the Peanut. Those two, I really like them. And I tend to end up buying those over other patterns for one reason or another. The last knife I picked up the other day was a Sodbuster Jr., which I haven't posted a video on yet. I put it in a short, but I haven't posted a main video on it yet, but I plan to. And the other knife I tend to pick up a lot is the Peanut. Well, it just so happens that in the last 2 days, we've added one of the Sodbuster Juniors to the collection, and we've added a Peanut to the collection, both from the same pawn shop, but from 2 different days that were back to back. So that's kind of interesting. But without putting it off any longer, let's dig into this box, because we've got a Peanut to look at. This one is used, but it had never been used. It had been bought. It's a 2019. So it was bought back in 2019, but it was never taken out of the box and used. Somebody has written $39 on this at some point. I don't know why. I got this for a little less than that, but the pawn shop that I got this from had not written that on it. Another thing I'm trying to do on these reviews is I'm going to try to do the measurements first and the weight, because a lot of people are really curious about that, and I tend to keep forgetting and putting it off till the end of the video. So I'm going to try to start doing that at the beginning of the video. Also, you'll notice there's a 1 written on this box. And the guy at the pawn shop told me that the guy that sold these to them wrote the number of blades on the box. However many blades the knife had, that's what he wrote on the box. Well, if that's true, the guy was badly mistaken in this case, because this is not a single-bladed knife. This is a double-bladed knife. Let's get this unraveled. Try not to rip the paper. I rolled this back up in here. So here we have it. Now you'll look at that and you'll say, what kind of Peanut is that? It's a light blue. We know it's not the sky blue, which is a crandall jig with an arrowhead badge, which looks like this. Very similar color. But you can see this is the sky blue. It's got the arrowhead badge. It's got the crandall jig in it. This does not. This has the regular case cursive scroll shield. And you look at that and you go, what is that? Well, if you flip it over, you'll get your answer. This is the Caribbean Blue Bone saw cut jig. You can see the saw cut right through there. Out of all the different knives that I've wound up with, I do not believe I've got a saw cut case in the collection. How that's possible, I don't know, but I sure didn't. And I've always liked this Caribbean blue, but I've never bought one. I've never seen one that I just really, really liked. Now, they can vary a lot. Some of them have a lot more green in them. Some are a lot darker in the middle. But do you all ever just pick up a knife and you just like it? You know what I mean? You just pick up that particular knife. There might be another one right beside it just like it. But you don't like it like you do that particular one you're looking at. That's how it was with me with this one. When I picked it up and looked at it, I wanted it. And but nevertheless, these Caribbean blues can vary a lot in the color and the bone. But what's happened on this one is they have hefted this side of it so much that they have basically made it a smooth bone instead of having a jigging on it. Now, if you get the light just right, you can see some of the saw cut. See that right there? I know that's glaring a little bit. But it does have a slight bit of saw cut, but not enough to feel. But I like this. You got this blue. It's almost completely even. When you're looking at it with your actual eye, not through the camera, it's a little bit lighter right above this brass pin here. But for the most part, you've got this nice, solid, smooth on this side. And then this side is darker in the middle, lighter on the edges, and has this nice vertical saw cut. It's absolutely beautiful. Look at that bone. Here's the back springs. Of course, you got your brass liners on the other sides of the springs. Well, there I go. I said I was going to measure it, and I was going to weigh it right off the bat. I was going to wind up doing it at the end again, so let's go ahead and do that. For those of you who don't want to sit through the whole video and listen to me ramble, 1.25, which is the normal going weight for a peanut. And then lengthwise, that's one of the places the peanut shines. It has a very large handle for the size of the cutting edge that you're getting. According to this measurement, it's 2 3/4 inches closed. And in the blade edge, the sharpened section is very close to 2 inches. Normally, they're just a speck under 2 inches. Yeah, just a speck under 2 inches. Just about 2 inches, though, if we're being honest about it. So you get a lot of blade for the size of the handle. Let's check blade centering now. Looks about perfect, don't you think? Again, you all know that I prefer to have the blade leaning the direction of the nail nick slightly. So the main blade is perfect, and so is the secondary pin blade. They both look great. I'm very, very happy with that. Now, the model number. Let's check that out next. 6220. The 6 is a reference to our Caribbean blue bone handles. The 2 is a reference to the fact that this is a double-bladed knife. It's a jackknife. And then the 20 on there is a reference to this being a peanut pattern. You'll also see on there that it is stainless steel. Now, as for year, I think I already mentioned this, but this is a 2019 model. Got good snap, good spring to it. Let me wipe the fingerprints off that blade. I did polish this when I got it home, and I sharpened it also. So here's what it looks like. That is a beautiful knife. Any way you cut it, that's a beautiful knife. Peanut's such a useful size. So easy to carry, yet you can get a good grip on it. I wear a large glove, and your pinky doesn't really rest on the knife itself, but you get a good grip of it nevertheless. Your finger kind of goes down between the kick and the bolster right there. And you put your thumb on the back. Very comfortable no matter which position you're holding it in. Now, the Peanut also has these great half stops on it. But your primary blade is going to be that clip blade right there. Your secondary blade is going to be this little pin blade. And this is a very good blade. And when I'm carrying a Peanut, I use this little blade all the time. It's an excellent, excellent blade. I like the way the tip is so pronounced on this pin blade. It's got good thick blade stock all the way right up to the tip, as you can see. And it's very comfortable, especially if you're wanting to, be careful not to poke through a package too much. You can just lay your forefinger out like that and make sure you don't push too deeply into the tape. It's just an excellent, excellent user. We did the Peanut challenge a little bit back on the channel, and where everybody carried a Peanut and made note when they come across a task they needed to do that the Peanut couldn't handle. And I'll tell you, I do not believe we got any response where the Peanut wouldn't do anything. But of course, we were using it within reason. We weren't cutting down trees or cutting sod with it. We were using it as an EDC knife, and the Peanut's an excellent knife. Let me pull out the other Peanuts in my collection, and we'll line them up here to see how this one fits in. I'll bring these Peanuts in the order in which I bought them. The first Peanut I ever bought was this yellow Delrin CV Peanut right here. This is a 2021. I bought this one brand new from a hardware store. This has been one of my favorites of all time. The next one I believe I got was this brown Delrin one. Got this one. It was new, but it was without a box from eBay. This one's stainless steel and has the as ground blades on it. The next peanut I got was actually a gift from my dad for Christmas. This is the white Spar X case peanut. This one is stainless steel, but it has mirror polish on it instead of the as ground blade. This one's 2020. This one here's another from 2021. There we go. Then after that, the next year for Christmas, my dad had ordered this off of Shepherd's Hill. Now, you'll notice that Shepherd's Hill has these cross knives. They make it in the 18 pattern Stockman, the 54 pattern Trapper, and the 20 pattern Peanut, last I noticed. And it's got stainless steel instead of CV or carbon steel like this yellow Peanut does. You'll notice the different sizes in the main blades, which I'll do a video on soon. That's interesting. At least I'll plan to do a video on it. But you'll notice it has a cross on it instead of the case shield. So that's pretty interesting. And this Peanut is a 2022. See if I can get these lined back up here. Try to get them somewhat uniform. And then after that, I found my first bone Peanut. And that was this one right here. This is an amber bone, and I like amber bone. And I had a spell where I was buying the amber bone knives that I found, if I could get a good price on them for the collection. This one right here is a 2005. I got this one for a really good buy. It's stainless steel. But that was the first bone Peanut I picked up. And then the next one was this red bone Peanut. I picked this up right before the Peanut Challenge, and I used it all throughout the challenge. This knife has an interesting story because it was in my pocket the first baptism that I ever performed, and so that was kind of interesting. It had a little bit of grit in the blade itself, in the action, and I couldn't get it to, no matter how much I oiled it, I couldn't get it to smooth out. And it's funny because after I went with it down into the water like that, it smoothed right out and has been super smooth ever since. So I find that kind of interesting. The water just washed it right out. But that's an interesting story about that Peanut. And then we've got our last Peanut to add to the collection. This Caribbean blue bone Peanut. So I think that right there is a pretty nice Peanut collection. You'll notice that the last three I've gotten have been bone, where the earlier ones were synthetic. Now, one Peanut, a synthetic one that I would like to add to the collection eventually, if I can find it, would be one of the black synthetic ones from Shepherd Hill that has the carbon steel blade. If I could find that, I would really like that one. Right now, I believe they only make it in the stainless blade, but it's pretty interesting. I also sharpened this Caribbean blue bone knife up, and I've got it razor sharp. And let me show you here. I always struggle to do this on the camera for some reason, but whenever I sharpen a knife, I try to get it where that it will shave hair without any problems at all. And you can see that right there. It just shaved that hair right off my arm without a bit of trouble. So I got both blades good and sharp like that. I'm actually going to use this one a lot. At least I plan on it. I really like this one. Especially, I think it looks especially nice when you put it beside that red bone and then the amber bone. Those three together are just some beautiful, beautiful American-made knives. Thank you all for watching. Comment down below. How do you feel about the Peanut? How do you feel about the Caribbean blue bone? What knives have you found lately at the pawn shop you really liked, or at a used place? Or in the same way, how many knives have you come across that you just picked up and you just really, really liked? Let us know down in the comments below. Thank you everybody for watching and for joining us in this video. You have a good day and keep your knives sharp.